very fun community, obviously. I think that there's a reason why people come down here, and there's definitely a reason why people prefer to spend their money here. But those things bring in a lot of money for all these establishments, and there's not one person that owns them that will tell you what it is. So.
I don't want to fault them because places across the street have it. That's saying go leave your place and go somewhere else. Like to me, that's not being supportive of you. And if you have 4 people per lane, I think maybe you don't need 6, maybe 4. Because if you have a group of people waiting for their lane, there's a spot for each one to sit and game while they're waiting to get in.
100%.
But that's my perspective on it.
Do you have them or something?
No, not yet. Not. But we are applying for them. And,
How many lanes do you have?
we have 10 lanes or so.
Are you applying for 10 machines?
No, I don't even know what the ordinance is. So 6. Oh, yes. So. And again, sir, it's about trying to cater to having guests in there, and then people come in 30 minutes early, and we really have a small little bar area. We have a little TV that we do our tutorial on, and then you can see them getting dancing, where they leave, you know, and then because of the way we do our booking, we now have a lane reserved, and they're sitting there for 30 minutes and whatnot, and so we're just trying to keep our guests there to participate, do what they have to do, have a good time, and then build repeat customers. Which finally now, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've been dealing with were new guests, you know, and now we're seeing more and more couples coming back because they're able to have a beer, you know, and they're able to go out for a couple hours, and again, it's only a couple hour experience. You know, we have a high turnover because again, we're going off reservations. So once the time is over, you know, if you reserve from 6 to 8, unfortunately, by 8 o'clock, I gotta get you out the door, and if you want to finish your beverage, feel free. But we're not trying to have you scramble around and wait and occupy the space that we're having another 50 people coming through.
So in everybody's package, there's a paragraph here about a chart, a handy chart.
Yeah, that chart is frightening.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Irony.
Because for one thing, you know, our population being 3,152, that's a little misleading because we have an enormous amount of influx from the outside communities that come here on the weekends.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know if that's a direct correlation with somebody like Sleepy Hollow. It's certainly not a correlation with Sleepy Hollow, I guess I'll say that. Also, if you were to take these averages based rather than on population on gaming establishments, or a number of establishments with machines, we're actually in the same, we're in the mid-range of all these, so more per establishment than we do even. So, you know, I think that, you know, we are, you know, for lack of a better term, we're party time. You know, if we're going to start picking and choosing who gets these machines, I think that's, I don't know that that's our place
I
to
can
decide.
see putting fewer terminals, like 4 terminals, in a recreation place. My biggest concern is, I like to draw restaurants and other places,
Right.
and I don't want to feel like, oh, we're a breakfast place, we're going to put games in.
Well,
Oh, we're this, we're going to put games in. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to put games in. Everybody gets a game. That's what I'm.
Well,
But it's
You gave, like, I don't know.
It happens because it works.
I mean,
You know, if
Right,
people
but
stop
like
using them, then it'll stop. So,
And do you know how many sit empty? Like, that's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the other-
It's
It's a
space.
waste of space.
but that's
But
not,
that's, I know it's not our,
That's
it's
their
not our
problem.
decision.
Yeah.
I
That's their
totally
business.
understand that it's not our decision, but I do feel like recreation facility, I can totally think of this. Maybe not 6, 4, fine, but.
I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, I took my wife to Halakihiki, which is a Hawaiian bar that's been there forever. My dad used to take his wine on there. And the first thing you see now are 6 machines that are pretty loud, and we try to hear some wine music. Now, we took that into place. We already thought about that on
Right.
where we designed, how we designed it. And that's why we made that area with our check-in area, where we have the bar, where we have people who are going to watch the tutorial. We have a nice, very nice little cozy corner where we can easily fit 6, and we actually planned it out where if we did move forward and get all 6, we want to make it comfortable for guests that do want to have the privacy of gaming and also doesn't take away from the people that are throwing axes and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I think with the way it's going to be set up, and you know, what really powerful impact asteroid range will really take once you walk in and see this big, huge thing in front of you. And like other places, they just have a board and a little pit in front. We have these gigantic cages, you know, and I believe with the lights and the way we have it set up and all that extra decor and everything that we're going to put in there, it's actually going to be super cool, super cozy, and convenient for someone that, again, is in a wheelchair or may not have the best, you know, means of walking around. You know, we get guests like that a lot. You know, we're trying to make it comfortable for where anyone can come in there and again, not take away from the vibe of being in an X place, you know, the whole Spartan feel. You know, so, again, we're gonna have it tucked in the corner where I think that it ain't gonna be a nuisance or an inconvenience for our guests that have nothing to do with it.
Right, and like I said, in this situation, I can totally understand it. It's being to me a lot. It is, and I'd like to, I mean, I'm not saying anything definitive, but I would like to really consider it and not make it, and of course, if you want to open a place here, you get it. Like
It's
I
kind
would,
of what it's morphed into, so.
right, and that's,
If you're talking, what you're talking about, I think is changing or addressing philosophy
yes.
behind the game, right? So,
And not just having it be a given. It feels to me like a given right now, and I would just like to discuss that at a higher level, aside from this
Right.
specific issue. This specific issue, I'm more comfortable with because it is a recreation facility, and it is like, that's the purpose of it, but.
okay.
Well, the manor did get candy right before they went out of business,
Yeah,
which was odd to me. But they wanted it.
Yeah, because the Alexander's up on 31, they have them too,
Right.
which is, you know, you wouldn't think,
But
it would work, but it does.
Jimmy's Jar House has it. I mean, everyone has it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
it is.
We'll have to see what the new breakfast place.
Yeah, right.
They don't have them at,
Brianna.
what's that?
Brianna's.
Rihanna's, right, but they don't have them at, that.
No, they don't, and I love it there.
It's a great spot. All right, so,
Should we?
any other
They've got a great
discussion?
eye.
No? Okay. Jeff?
Wait,
Well,
We're-
There was just discussion. There was discussion,
Right.
okay, to approve.
I would, okay, is that,
Was four.
I think,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
So, I mean, the businesses around there, I don't know what DC Cobb's has in there. And they have 6. Does Allianz have? Does Allianz
Well,
have 8?
Gray has,
Aliana's took theirs out.
No, Allianz has theirs as part of Nominals.
right, but
Expansion.
I thought they took it out.
What?
they
With
still
a
have
cafe?
over there.
Because
You
there
been in
there
there?
are, there are
Since
some.
they remodeled? I thought they said they took them out.
Right.
I mean,
Cobb's, I
in our
want to say has.
defense, I feel like out of all these businesses, it fits our business model the best. It's just that we're not around
You're not wrong.
like restaurants or, we didn't get a chance to jump in when all these other businesses have. And now, I understand you guys, we signed this lease how many months ago? You know, we were so enthusiastic of coming in here, all over our website, we're pounding East Dundee. We even have the reviews of welcome to the community. And it's like, you know, I don't want to sell ourselves short here, but it's like, you know, I feel it just feels like, you know, we're getting penalized for all the problems. Even some of the previous meetings, some of the things that were brought up has nothing to do with us. We never brought up live music. We didn't bring up anything like that. We're just trying to keep our guests inside. If you guys come to our establishment now, you won't continue to hear the accents until you open the door. And it's not until you actually step inside. You know, we've had so many people come in and are shocked or floored just look at our reviews about how family friendly we are and how secure it is, and how controlled it is. And I understand what you're saying. I hate it too. It's my biggest pet peeve that we go somewhere and family members want to split up over dinner because they want to go put a 20 in the machine. You know, I grew up in the restaurant and worked at Rivers for 10 years, so I saw it firsthand of how damaging it can be. But again, we're not looking for the person that's going to be traveling from location to location to try to put in money. We just want to have it, and if we can get the 6, then we'd like to have the 6 and not feel like we're being penalized because of someone else's mistakes or
I'm
money.
thinking of the places around it, and I don't think there's more than 4. I can't think of any location in town that has more than 4.
Lucky Gray, I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
Steve Ray was there, their eating place.
I know, but
I will move to approve an ordinance amending the number of video game permits to allow Spartan Axe Throwing to have, and I will say that they can have their 6.
I'll second.
Okay.
Trustee Mahoney?
No.
Trustee Quincy?
Yes.
Trustee Burton? No. Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Schreiber?
Yes.
Okay. We're good. We have 3 days.
Because we're missing something,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
So we only have 3 affirmative votes and we need 4, so the village president must vote.
I vote yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Then that moves us to item F. If I could have one motion.
I will move to approve an ordinance amending the Village of East Dundee Village Code regarding signage in historic districts.
I'll second.
This one is pretty straightforward. This would just allow sign requests in historic districts to be approved administratively instead of having to go to the commission. And this was brought to us by a member of the planning commission who thought that it would be more appropriate to be handled in this manner.
Discussion from me.
Anybody?
So, I was on planning and zoning a few years back, and I think we were on a sign committee together long time ago. And, Frank Kelly was in here, trying to give some stringent guidelines on fonts and that kind of thing. And I just want to, you cannot tell businesses that they have to change their logos, which is usually what goes on the signs, into certain fonts. Plus, there's buildings from the 50s and the, 08s, and it's a historic district or this historic area, but it's all over the place. So once we start getting into that, I think the bigger issue is that we were finding that people were having problems with were the materials and the backlit, kind of cheap signs that you see in strip malls, as opposed to a sign that's, made of, a little bit more of a quality construction and that will harmonize with the materials, but then represent the logo of the business that's going in to the area. So that's kind of where I would like to make sure that we're having that focus and that as the group that would be approving it, making sure that there's not some of these other
Yeah, I recall.
wishes that were put out there just a few weeks ago.
My involvement with signage was centered around, at the time, electronic signs coming in. So it was like we wanted to limit or at least control the number and location of electronic signs so as to avoid it looking like the Reno or Vegas or whatever. And then there was a couple instances too where all of a sudden signs just appeared, electronic signs, without any request from the village. So we actually take a look at some of our ordinances there. But this one here then basically just shifts the approval and review process from the P&Z to administration. So, but I think it would be worthwhile to revisit that, our policies, our ordinances surrounding signing altogether.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like, yeah, we're moving it from one subjective body to another subjective body, rather than saying, these are the rules that we want for the signs, in which case it should really just be one person that can look at it and say, yes or no. It either follows these guidelines that we've laid out, or it doesn't. Yes, without the subjective, well, I like this one, or I don't like this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is what was happening on the planning and zoning committee.
Right.
On the historic commission.
so,
I don't like purple. Well, that's my logo color.
We can certainly look at the sign guidelines and make sure that they're adequate. And if you don't feel that they're adequate, we can have a review
This is to expedite it. If someone needs a sign, they're not waiting for that you can make decisions soon.
And the
So-
board meets once a month,
Yeah.
or whatever. And they can get a quorum.
So the question then before us now is to shift the approval process of the request for signs
Yep.
from P&Z to administration.
Well, and that's fine, but I do think we should look at the actual code.
And quite generally, so we should, absolutely. There's a few holes in
I'm fine with shifting it, yes.
Yeah.
And we would caveat that we do.
Yeah.
it. We can do that at a committee of the whole as well. Anybody? Catherine?
Trustee Mahoney? Yes. Trustee Coonsey?
Yes,
Trustee Britton? Yes. Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
And Trustee Trider?
Yes.
All right, then that takes us final to item G. We could have a motion.
I move to approve special village board meeting minutes dated January 10th, 2022.
Second.
Catherine?
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Trider?
Yes.
Okay, the warrants list then is in your packet. Any questions can go to either Brandis or Erica. We'll start out with the reports here. Sarah, let's start.
No report.
No report. Kathleen?
No report.
Scott?
I just have one question. Phil, great job with the roads over the weekend.
Thank you, I'll let the guys know.
I remember last year we talked about Route 72, and I know that's not our, purview, but that hill, are we still thinking that if they're late, who does it, the county or is it IDOT?
That's IDOT, state of
So
Illinois.
if IDOT is taking forever to get there, are we still thinking we'll clear off that hill at least so that we don't have people sliding down the hill on 72?
We are willing to supplement when and when necessary. In fact, Quadcom had called me, this was early Sunday morning, about addressing 72, essentially between River and 68.
Down here, exactly.
So,
I mean, I think we should do that. I think we should keep an eye on that, if it gets, maybe even not if it gets bad, just do it. I don't know.
Well, we had a situation at Dunridge on 68, I recall, was a few winters ago, where for that entrance to that subdivision there off of 68, we would clear, and I know IDOT raised a stink about that, because we were actually plowing across 68 to accommodate the entrance there. So whether or not we have to touch base with IDOT before is a question mark, but there isn't any repercussions to us doing that, is there? I mean, they can't fine us, in other words, if we were to maintain a state road.
no, in fact, they appreciate any assistance that we give them on 72.
great.
It's been, I don't believe it happened last winter, but I believe it was the two winters prior to last winter. Because we assisted with their efforts of clearing that section of 72, they provided us with a free load or two of salt, directly to our salt farm.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Just as a
Favorite.
as a quick thank you. I've been in contact with their, I guess you'd call it their superintendent, and the yard, the IDOT yard that's responsible for this section of 72, they're out of St. Charles. So as you can imagine, on a morning like this morning, or Saturday into Sunday, it can sometimes be
Hours.
2 or 3 hour round trip to re-salt, to refill their trucks with salt. We've had complaints, we've expressed our concerns directly to IDOT, I personally have, with their, call it lack of response, as what you're referring to, discussing it today. And that was their reason, is their staffing levels don't accommodate, or would not accommodate additional plow trucks for this stretch, as well as that round trip to and from St. Charles Yard, which is out Peck Road and 64. So it's quite a distance, but we can certainly revisit that. I don't know if their current superintendent position would be as accommodating for a free load of salt here and there,
Well, I mean, we don't need to solve it.
Yeah.
But, I
We
mean,
need
I
fewer
think at this
accidents.
point, it might be better to ask for forgiveness than permission, like, if cars are sliding down the hill.
Absolutely. The police department will oftentimes let us know if they're seeing issues with either trucks and other cars either going up or down the hill. They'll typically call and request some supplemental assistance.
Great. That's it. Trustee Triber.
No report.
Hey, Josh, no report, okay. I have just a brief report. Yesterday I took part in festivities, if you will, for Pastor Beowulf at Manuel Lutheran. He is going to be moving on from our community to Bayside, Michigan. So he's leaving that parish here, and we had a proclamation for him that I read to the congregation yesterday, and it was really a good time, and I really appreciated the invitation for the village to represent and acknowledge a good man and his good work. So we proclaimed yesterday, January 23rd, 2022, as Pastor Beowulf Day in the village of East Dundee. So,
If I may, kind sir,
sure.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, Erica and Jeff. To have a senior pastor of 15 years that, remember, Emmanuel Lutheran isn't just a church, it is a church school. And the families that come there, it reaches generationally. And to have, I don't want to say we had 1,000 people at the 10:30 service, but it was packed. It was like a Christmas Easter service. I mean, it was full to the brim. And I just wanted to come and say thank you for the support of everybody here and for Erica rushing the proclamation as we're all going in. No, we need to buy it Sunday. Catherine, come on, where is it? So thank you for helping the community and honoring this proclamation. So thank you guys.
Thanks. Okay, we'll continue on. Erica.
No reports.
No report. Lance.
I will go with the pattern.
No report. No report. No report. Phil.
No reports.
No. Okay. Chris. No report. And Chief.
Well, I won't break this up. No report.
Okay. All right. So that takes care of staff reports. Then public comment for any non-agenda items. Does anybody want to address the board? Okay. All right. So that moves us to executive session. So if go ahead and get that written in, and we're going to go into executive session. Adjourn.
Double check.
I'll move to
Yeah, no,
close
that's all
public
good. Thank you.
and the provisions of the Illinois Open Meeting Act, 5 ILCS 120/2, and this would be C1 personnel, no,
Yeah.
okay, C1 personnel and legal counsel.
Second.
And we'll close out of executive session now.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Cooney?
Yes.
Trustee Britton? Yes. Trustee Saviano?
Yes.
Trustee Schreiber?
Yes.
And President Lang?
Yes. Okay. We'll take